All right, hey everybody, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about an animal's death and dying process and what is really going on. Hi, my name's Danielle McKinnon. I'm an animal communicator. It does mean pet psychic. It does mean that I communicate psychically with animals. I tend to specialize in pet loss, pet grief, the pet loss journey, what's happening around this. And I know that a lot of you are finding me because you are experiencing this right now. It's even possible that your pet has just passed. When I look through my comments on all my past YouTubes, what I see are a lot of people who are saying, I just found you, my pet just passed, I'm in so much pain. And really, that's what I want to help you with today, is I want to help you understand the animal's death and dying process. I should say that I will also be talking about soul contracts. I'll also be taking questions from you all at the end, and I'll be doing I made up a cool name called Sniffnotes. So I'll be doing some readings at the end, like Cliff Notes, but Sniffnotes. So if you are interested in that, stay till the end. Okay, so today, and I'm glad you guys are all chatting. That's awesome. But right now, I'm going to talk about the animal's death and dying process. Yeah, right now, I want to talk about the animal's death and dying process and really what is happening. And it's really helpful, I have found, to understand what an animal is going through when they are actually leaving their body, what they're going through before, and how this all happens. I also want to answer questions that I've seen over the years about this in the comments, because some of you have written like really great questions about this. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. It's a heavy subject, and yet it's actually a really cool thing that happens. So let's begin by talking about what happens to the animal's soul, right? So an animal and a human, an animal and a soul, an animal and a soul are, they're one and the same. When an animal comes into this lifetime, they have a soul and they have a physical body. So those two things are enmeshed together. Now, that animal, your pet, still has this, because of their soul, they still have this connection to the other side, to the world of spirit, to deceased loved ones, to the big picture. But they also have this real physical world grounding that's here because they're living in the 3D world, and they need to find food, they need to find shelter, and they need to feel okay, and they want to be with you, who is their human as well, or all the humans who are their humans. So what happens is, as the animal is going through their life, they're going to come to a point where they've made a decision. Now, this decision is something that I talk about in a lot of my videos. And the decision is the decision that, hey, it's time. It's time for me to go. It's time for me to pass. Now, that decision is made based on factors that we, as humans, have trouble understanding. Sorry, I just realized. That decision is based on factors that we have, as humans, have trouble understanding because we spend time looking at our world from a very human, physical perspective. It can be really hard for us as human beings to remember that there's actually a bigger picture going on. So your pet, when they decided that they were going to pass, it's because of their connection to the bigger picture, the great purpose of why they're here and what they're doing. And that is related to their mission. So every animal that comes into your life is meant to be in your life. And I talk about that in other videos, but I'm going to lightly talk about it right now, which means that the animal in your life is here to help you grow and evolve and become super conscious and aware and stop living unconsciously. When that animal is like, hey, I've done my job with Jill, or Jake or whoever it is, when that animal knows that they've done their job, that's when they decide to cross over. It's not that they decide to cross over because they're mad at their human or they're punishing their human, or it's never a decision that's made because of like a negative reason. It's a decision that's made at the soul level. So at the soul level, this animal knows, hey, it's time for me to cross over. Hey, it's time for me to do this and get my human ready for me to do this. So once the decision has been made, thanks, JP. Once the decision has been made to cross over on the big picture part of this animal's soul, right? Not the physical 3D part that needs food, needs shelter, needs water, but the big picture part of the soul that says, yeah, I've done what I came here to do. The animal begins constructing at the soul level how they're going to pass. So that's another video. I can link to that. But what I want you to understand now is that when that animal figures out how they're going to pass, they choose how long will it take? What form will it take? Who will be there? All of this stuff. Again, another video. I'll link to that other video, or actually I have a lot of videos on it. So when they're choosing this, all right, now let's say we've got an animal who is choosing that they're going to take a long time to pass. So this could be an animal who gets very sick and they get to stay with their human during this time, but it takes like the animal's like diagnosed with something, and then 6 months later, the animal crosses over from that something. Okay. What is really cool to understand, and I say it's cool because I'm fascinated by this process from the bigger picture. It's not easy to experience as a human who loves your pet, is the way that the spirit, the soul, needs to separate from the physical body. So even if you didn't know that your pet had this problem for those 6 months, the soul is actually prepping to leave the physical body during those 6 months. However long it takes, there's a whole process going on behind the scenes that we don't necessarily know, which kind of blows my mind because we think everything is about the physical world. We think it's all about like what we see and what we experience, and it's just not. There's so much going on. The bigger picture is what gets me every time. So as we're still in the 6-month period, right? When that animal says, okay, I'm going to take about 6 months to cross over, and I'm going to do it this way because I want to help my human adjust, let's say. Again, they know this stuff in the big picture. What happens is the spirit actually has to, I say spirit and soul interchangeably. A lot of the times it's easier to say spirit. It doesn't really matter, right? We can say whatever we want. We know what we mean. So the spirit starts to actually move out of the body through the bum. Now, I always say the bum. Some people say, well, that's the root chakra. The root chakra is where our sense of physical world safety is, our survival mode is, all of that. Animals have never shared with me that it was their root chakra. It's a visual that I see psychically. Like if I look at an animal that's getting ready to cross and they're in this process, so the spirit is moving out like that, it'll be like I see an outline of the animal where the spirit is not in that part of the body, and then where it still is, it'll be a full like in color type situation. So I can literally see it kind of going, and this is actually what I teach my students to understand as well and to work with. So as this is happening, there is a process. And you may have experienced, I wonder if you've experienced this with your pet. There's a process that they go through as well, emotionally and in the physical 3D world, so that by the time they are, the spirit is just a little bit left in their body. There, a lot of them are starting to become more like a little bit, almost like a little bit more spacey, a little bit more disconnected a lot of the time. There, and the reason why, and this is the thing that really, this is the thing that really kind of helps me. And in all my readings with the animals, this has helped me a lot. If, think of it this way. So as the spirit's moving out of the body, so we've got the physical body, but it's becoming less and less full of the spirit or the soul. What that's doing is that's creating what I consider to be a beautiful disconnection between pain and suffering and that animal's experience in their death and dying process. So what's happening is they're not as present. And I want them not to be as present. I don't want to see anybody suffering. I don't want anybody hurting. And so as the animals have explained it to me in my readings with them, they're not feeling it the way we would feel it, the way I think I would feel it if today I was having some challenging experience that was going to create my passing. So as this is happening, there comes a point at the end where, for a lot of animals, now it depends on how long did this process take, what experience does this animal feel is needs to happen in order to finalize the passing. But there will be a time for most animals where there's a burst of energy that's needed at the end, and it's the burst of energy that's needed at the end so that the physical body and the spirit or the soul can finally separate. Now, sometimes I will connect in with an animal who's just so close to passing, but they haven't passed yet. There's still some consciousness in there. And there will be this like little psychic little like line that I can see. It's like a little line between the spirit and the animal. And sometimes this burst of energy has to happen to break that. And that burst of energy can look like a big struggle at the end. It can look like a sound, or I guess sound like a sound. There's so many different ways, and it doesn't have to happen because sometimes the whole process created enough energy to separate those two. Once that separation happens, the animal spirit, the animal soul, is completely done with that physical body. And that's when we see no more breath, no more anything. There's nothing happening anymore in the physical body. What's really cool, and it makes me teary, is that so often when I've done readings with animals, I've seen that moment just after the, like, let's say it's euthanasia, or let's say passed in their bed or whatever it is. And I've been able to, the animals show me through their eyes, see all of what's happening that the animal soul is watching from up above after they've left their physical body. So this process, which is a really, really cool process. And come on, it is a cool process. It's heartbreaking for us as the humans because we don't want our animals to go. And yet, at least there are some incredible fail safes in there, right? There are some incredible, like, oh, he's not going to experience pain the way I would think he'd experience pain. Oh, he's not so present in this moment. Oh, that's why this big energy thing happened right before he passed. Like, those help me not stay in so much pain around the passing so that I can be present with my grief. I want to make sure I've said all the things I wanted to say here. So after they've crossed, and they're showing me they're up above. They can see their body, they're up above. And they can see whatever is happening there. So they can see their human or the vet or the other animals or whatever it is. One of the questions that you guys asked on my YouTube channel was, well, how long do they stay like that? And what I have understood from them. Now, everything that I'm sharing is from my readings with animals. And as soon as I learn more, I know more. So I only know what I know. But what they have shown me is that they are, they kind of like hang out for a bit and then they need to go and adjust. They go and adjust to being on the other side. They go and adjust to, hey, I have no physical body now. What's this going to be like? There doesn't seem to be a hard time limit for any of this because it's all based on their relationship with you, what they want to continue doing with you, what they want to share with you. But I hope that they can see you, they can hear you, they can watch you, they hear you talking to them, even in the moment right after they pass. They hear, see, know, and feel you. They can tell me all of that even after they've passed. Okay, so I'm going to answer some of the questions that you guys have given me about this topic in the past. One person asked, can they get stuck in this process? No. No, it's like, I have never run into an animal who's like, I got stuck. It doesn't work that way. It's a process. The animals understand it. At the soul level, they get what they're doing. They're not going to get stuck. They are going through exactly what they know in the deepest way. So that's a really important thing because I have heard that other animal communicators have said, oh, your cat got stuck. What is that? That's crazy. That's just crazy. It doesn't work that way. They cross over. They make it to the other side. It's not, I even saying make it sounds weird, like that was a journey and a hard thing. It's there and it's there for them. So you can trust that your pet made it there easily. This one was, do they forget you or know you're there while they're going through this process? Like, are they even aware? The physical body part of them, a lot of the time isn't aware. Sometimes can be aware, but a lot of the time they're very wrapped up with what they're experiencing physically. And this is what I teach in my animal communication classes. There's two ways. There's two things here. We've got the physical world experience and we've got the soul level experience. And at the soul level, they know you're there. They know they're doing this in some way because of you. And they are aware of the whole thing, everything that is going on. So that feeling of, did I do enough or did I say the right thing? I hope they didn't feel alone in that moment. All of that. At the soul level, they get it. At the soul level, they hear you. They know they're there. They're still connected with you, even when they're going through this process. And then somebody else asked, will the soul stay where they died? So if your pet died at the vet or your pet died in the woods or your pet died at home and you move or you leave the vet, no, the soul is not connected to any physical location. The soul is connected to you through unconditional love. So they're going to stay with you. They're going to be with you. They're going to reconnect with you forever. Right? This is a connection that does not go away. It doesn't matter how they died. It doesn't matter whether you were there or not. None of those, all those human fears, none of them matter. Your pet soul remains connected to you no matter what. All right. So there's another video you can watch, which is called, Did I Euthanize My Pet Too Soon? And I know a lot of people who are wondering about the death and dying process are wondering about that. So I'll link that as well. All right. I want to talk for a moment about, actually, let's do this. Let's do this. You're here because a pet on the other side probably brought you here. That's my feeling. And I was thinking it might be really cool if you could put the name of your pet in the chat who brought you here. I would really love to look through the names, honor the names of the pet that brought you here or pets that brought you here. It is blows me away how these animals, they cross over and then they lead you to like me. It's the coolest. Oh, look at all these. Ollie, Roscoe, Pepper, Cubby. I have chills right now. It's so cool. Jake, Lucky, Yuri, Noche, Violet, Baby, Neo, Willow, Moonshadow, Arunja, Luther, Winnie, Desi, Nikki, Wayana, Precious, Tessa, Chowance. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to say that. Maybe it's supposed to be Chance, and that's a typo. Bruce, Abby, Jax, Angel. I just saw Patricia Hernandez is here. Harmony, Tommy, Chloe, Bracken, Vito, Tootsie, Miles, Milla. Oh, you guys, this is this is amazing. It's amazing. I understand you're hurting. And I feel like I want to cry. Sorry. It's the coolest thing that our that our animals cross over and they want us to reconnect with them and they want to maintain that connection. Look at all these animals that have done that. Sorry. I have been having a hard time myself. This arm, I shattered the elbow, so I'm not wearing my thing, but I can't touch my my face. Can't do my hair, so my hair is crazy. Like, and I think I'm very emotional. And the thing that animals do, where they are helping us grow and evolve, and it doesn't matter whether they've passed or not, they're still helping us. It blows me away every time. Sorry. Bonnie, Zachary, Lexus, Molly, Abby, Fiona, Addison, Chauncey, Jasper, Cootie, Charlie, Fran, Gracie, Emmett, BB. Thank you, Carol Robinson, Oreo. You said my dog's name, but nobody typed it. That's cool. Yeah, that's a sign right there. Amy, you love my hair. Thank you. I can't even shower myself. Okay. So this is awesome. I'm going to talk about another question that you all have. And then we're going to do Sniffnotes. I'll take your questions and I'll do some readings. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's what, and this is, Marshall says, this is making me cry also. It blows me away. I think today is going to be an emotional day is what's happening here. Okay. We're gonna do the next question. The next question that I wanted to do. Okay. Gotta get my bearings here after getting all emotional, you know? Okay. Whew. All right, today we're going to talk about how to uncover the soul contract with your pet, whether they are alive or not. So, yep, I'm Danielle McKinnon. I'm going to help you do this. This is my thing. In fact, I wrote the book on it. I wrote my book, Soul Contracts. I can link that. I wrote my book, Animal Lessons. I can link that. This is my thing that I know the most about, and I learned it from the animals. I don't know. I just got to be honest here, right? I got to be honest about something. I have spent years. Yeah, I wrote my books about it. Yeah, we talk about it in my Be Open community. I have blogs about it, but I don't talk about the soul contracts we have with our animals like here on social media, on video. What am I doing? And the reason is, and I know this, and I'm going to get to it in a second, but the reason I haven't done it, and it's bad, is that it's easier to be like, oh, I see this bed with your dog. I see, to give like really super concrete, dialed in psychic information that everybody can confirm and that everybody's going to agree with. I've been doing that for years and leaving out the soul contract, the lesson. What are you here to learn from this animal? So we are going to talk about that right now. And I'm going to share with you how these soul contracts work and how you can find out what yours is with your pet if you don't want to read my animal lessons book. And this is my fault, like my failing, that I have not brought this out, because I feel like people who are grieving the passing of their pet, people who are worried about the passing of their pet, people who love their pet more than the humans around them, and leaving them out in the cold by not letting people understand about what is really happening with these animals that are in our lives. So, all right, so here we go. We're just gonna start. We're just gonna start with what it is. So first of all, my belief, and my belief is based on what the animals have told me in kabillion readings with them, is that animals are incarnating here in our lives to help us grow and evolve, to help us become better people, to help us become conscious, compassionate people, aware of ourselves and aware of our surroundings. Animals have mastered unconditional love. If you watch my videos, you know this. I say this all the time. They master unconditional love. And actually, when I was reading through comments earlier today, someone was like, well, they haven't mastered unconditional love because I see a cheetah go after an animal and that cheetah hurt that animal and ate it and blah, blah, blah. That's not a version of no unconditional love. That's actually balance and harmony, and that is natural. Some animals are prey animals and some animals are predators. In fact, today I was at physical therapy for my arm, and I looked out the window and I saw a hawk, and it was sitting on this fence, and there were these smaller blackbirds, and they were all going choo choo choo, and they were kind of attacking the hawk. And I'm like, wow, that's that thing that happens where the birds go after the hawk because the hawk's going to get one of their babies. And I'm watching, and they are continuing. There's like 8, 12 of these black birds, and they are like going like this and really trying to take that hawk out, who looks to me like is just sitting on the fence. And it doesn't calm down. I'm watching for like 5 minutes. And then I notice, oh, I saw hanging in the hawk's claws the baby. It was the baby. And it was those birds' baby, or the group of birds' baby. And they were really defending the hawk to get their baby back. Now, I could see that, okay, that baby is no longer alive. But do we think hawks are evil or bad or have not mastered unconditional love because they are eating their food? Like, I disagree. I don't feel like that's a thing. And the animals haven't said that's a thing. There's a natural balance. When we get out of balance is when that the bird family that's trying to go after the hawk, walk around feeling bad about themselves. Not walk, they fly. They're feeling bad about themselves because they weren't able to successfully defend their baby. Like, I'm a bad bird now. Like, that is not mastering unconditional love. Animals doing what they do naturally is balance, is harmony, and they live in the world in a way that it will sustain itself if we get out of it. So they're trying to help us master unconditional love. And this is the point of a soul contract with your pet. Your pet is trying to help you feel better about yourself, believe in yourself, feel safe in the world, see your own value. And that's why they're here helping us. That's why they're incarnating into these physical bodies that we love so much, is to help us grow and evolve and become the best people we can possibly be. So what happens is, you've got a lesson that you're working on. You've got like so in this life, I am working on believing that I'm good enough, right? This is a thing that I came in to work on. And as I've grown older and older, I'm getting better and better. I believe it better. I believe it more. When I came into this lifetime, I had arranged for several, quite a lot of animal souls to be with me, to show up in my life and to help me work on believing that I'm good enough. I'm good enough at whatever I do. I don't have to earn it. I don't have to try harder. I just am good enough as a human being. So you have animals in your life and they have actually contracted to be in your life to help you be good enough. Well, not to, I'll tell you how to help you do what in a moment. To help you learn whatever it is, some version of unconditional love for yourself. So we have many, many, many animals that come into our lives to do this. And those people who don't have animals in their life, they just didn't contract for that, right? Before they incarnated, they weren't like, hey, I'm going to have some extra help. All of us here, we were like, I want extra help. I want to really nail this lesson in this lifetime. So like for me, I was like, I'm going to get a kabillion animal souls to agree to come in and help me grow and evolve and become a conscious being. So that's what I did. So it is not contracted when they're going to come into your life, how they're going to come into your life, what form, like what species they're going to come into your life as. None of that. It's all up in the air because it's based on how am I doing in my life? How am I doing at learning that I am good enough no matter what? How am I doing? And so that animal knows, all right, I'm going to come in, I'm going to do this. It's going to help Danielle in this way. So it's a thing that people get very hung up. Well, I want him to come back as a horse. I want him to come back as a dog. We don't get to choose any of that. These animals are connected to the big picture. And we have to be okay with that. So we don't get to choose this stuff. All right. So this animal's come into my life and I am now experiencing them. So I've brought my dog Bella into my life. I've brought my dog Oscar into my life. All right, I'll use my dog Oscar as an example because Oscar is the reason I can't bend my arm more yet. I tripped over him, or I'm sorry, he tripped me. So what happens is the animals know who you are. They know what you're working on learning in this lifetime before you do, usually. And this is the really cool thing, they know what they need to do in your life, to you, around you, about you, or for you to get you to move further along on the path of mastering unconditional love. They are so smart that they know how to do it in ways that we as humans, we can't even think of. So, for example, that means that my dog Oscar came in knowing that I'm still working on believing, like full on believing that I am just good enough, even if I screw up a YouTube, even if I do something, whatever it is, I am good enough no matter what. I don't need to prove it, right? I don't need to try harder. So Oscar comes in my life knowing that. Now, Oscar, using Oscar as an example, but this applies to all of your animals as well. Oscar can choose what lesson he's helping me with. So the lessons are, basically it's all on unconditional love. And I talk about this in my soul contracts book. I talk about this in my animal lessons book. I'll link that. But all the lessons are some version of not having unconditional love for yourself. And if you don't have it for yourself, you don't have it for anybody else. So they are a belief that you're not safe, supported, and protected, a belief that you're not good enough, belief that you're not deserving and worthy, a belief that you are unlovable. And our goal when we come into this lifetime is to change those into positive beliefs. And when I believe that I'm awesome no matter what, I'm worthy and deserving, I'm totally lovable, and I'm safe in the world, I have mastered unconditional love. And the way I approach every single other being around me is from unconditional love. I'm no longer doubting myself and worrying and feeling bad and doing all that. And that's what the animals want us to do. So Oscar's like, all right, I know Danielle's working on primarily right now in her life, believing that she's good enough, believing in herself that she's good enough to achieve her dreams. Like that's where I am in my life right now. So then he chooses ways to share this. So he can either model a behavior, mirror a behavior, or inspire. So if he's going to model a behavior, that means he's going to do something that helps me see the way that I could be in life. Right. So, and this is actually the way that he's doing it. So Oscar has this, everything is awesome. Everything is great. Even when it's, he's like, he's modeling like acceptance and love for everything. And he goes around the house like this with his face. I'm so excited. Like, that's Oscar. He is modeling that for me. And since I know that when he's doing that, he's over there on the chair. I know that that's a sign for me to look at, what am I doing right now? What's going on? What's happening? What's going on inside me? Because Oscar's taken this moment to model that. He could mirror something, right? So if let's say the way that my not good enough thing is showing up is I'm feeling scared to do things, I'm anxious, I'm worried to try a new thing, I might fail or whatever it is. I see him doing that, right? If I were to see him doing that, that's a sign to me. Whatever his behavior is, you always want to look to yourself as well as to him, like what's going on with you. But I want you to understand how so much of this is geared toward you as a human needing to learn something from the dog or the cat or the horse or the guinea pig or the mouse or the bird or the fish. Okay, the third way that they can help you learn the lesson is through inspiration. And that inspiration is love. That inspiration is, and a lot of you are here. A lot of you are on my channel because you have never felt love this big before for anybody, much less an animal. You're like, this was my soul dog, soul cat. This was it. This is the only being in the world that I trust. This is it, right? So if that's you, the animal in your life is probably teaching you about unconditional love by inspiring you to feel it for them by giving it to you. And a lot of people, that is such a powerful lesson for so many people. And it's real. And when those animals cross over, what do they want? They want you to continue that lesson. They want you to continue. I feel this unconditional love. I feel this acceptance of someone. I'm going to try it out on another human. A lot of the time, they want you to now try out that type of trust and love on another human. So, yes, the third lesson is a big, big deal. Not everybody has it, and you have a different lesson with every animal, a different method for the lesson with every animal in your life. But I especially think for people who are finding me because they're experiencing such huge pet loss grief or fear around pet loss, it's usually that unconditional love one. That's usually the unconditional love one that's doing it. So here's how to figure it out. But in my animal lessons book, it's a whole book on how to figure it out. But I'm going to give you a quick one right now. And that is, look at the place in your life with this animal, whether they are alive or they're not alive anymore. Find what brought up what had the biggest emotional impact on you. So, like, for example, my dog Tuka, the biggest emotional impact I'm having with her is the incessant barking that's going on. And it actually makes me really, really mad, like super mad. So I know that the lesson she's helping me learn is in there. And I know to look at the emotions that I'm having, as well as the words, the like little discussion I'm having with myself in my head around this. And the discussion that I'm having with myself in this, like, oh, Danielle, you're just not good enough to get her to stop barking, that kind of stuff, because of that is right where she's working that lesson. So that is like the smallest version of how to figure out what the soul contract with your pet is. And your pet has a different soul contract with every person who's important to them in their life. But you can read my animal lessons book for more. I'm going to just say that animals do not have soul contracts with each other. What they have is they might combine, kind of work together to help you with your soul contract. And the biggest question that I get around this is, well, so animals are helping us, but how are we helping them? When you learn what that animal wants you to learn, when you move along the path on mastering whatever that soul level lesson is that they're helping you master, you become a better, more happy, more content, more conscious being. And what does that do? You're allowed to provide better for them if they're alive, and it contributes to mass consciousness and raising the vibration. So everything you do actually helps them as well. If you want to kind of keep learning about this, I have a video called 3 Inspiring Reasons Why Your Pet Died Now that kind of takes this a little bit further. Okay, so having said that, I'm wondering, can you guys put in the chat, what is your pet teaching you? What lesson are they teaching you? I would like to know. I'd like to kind of see, what lesson are they teaching you? And so the lesson can be anything, right? It can be teaching you to feel good about yourself, teaching you to love, teaching you to believe that you can be a success. Carol Robinson, How to Let Go. Angel Dust, that I can be loved. Patience, kindness, unconditional love. Patience, unconditional love, boundaries. Oh yeah. Unconditional love, patience, and caring. Yeah, isn't it interesting how often they're teaching us patience? So for those of you who are saying patience, what I will say is, I want you to look further than that, right? Why are you impatient? What are you telling yourself that makes you feel, there's always like a little dialogue going on. It's not just, I don't want to wait. Why don't you want to wait? What does it say about you that you have to wait? Like, go deeper than just patience, because it's going to be some version of not good enough, not safe, supported, protected, not deserving, worthy, and not lovable. Okay. So now, oh, you guys are still going. Sorry. Not to worry so much about everything. She taught me to be calmer and enjoy the small things, self-care, and that I'm good enough. Yes, Patricia. It's good to see you. All right. So now I want to do some, I called them sniff notes. I thought I was being like super clever. And why am I calling them sniff notes? I want to do readings for you. Just a few readings. I want to answer your questions and do some sniff notes readings. These are sniff notes because, like Cliff Notes, they're abbreviated readings. If you want a full reading, I don't give full readings. But you go to my website and you go to my practitioners, and they are there and they're awesome and they're all trained by me in what we're talking about here. Soul level animal communication, which is not just, hey, his foot hurts, but also here's what you're learning and here's the bigger purpose. And that is the thing. Remember, I said, I have been like minimizing myself by not talking about that. I'm going to talk about it. When we do, you can start putting questions in now. What a question you have for me that you'd like for me to answer. When I do answer, I am no longer going to, like, I don't know what the word is, minimize, censor the lesson stuff. That's the whole point of everything that I do. And what have I been thinking for all this time? Almost like hiding it until you get really, I don't know. We're just gonna look at your questions. Okay. So Monica Mandoki, is my Hachi boy with my mom? That one, I don't. Yes, that's just a very easy one. Yes. And your mom very much embraced, like physically embraced. It seems like a big deal, physical embrace. Okay. An animal. Okay, Zindra. An animal communicator told me on the day she died that my poodle Ella would come back to be in a new incarnation. So I agree, our animals do incarnate again, but my experience is that they wait until we incarnate again because they want to continue working with us on our soul lessons from the other side. A lot of the times, that's a more freeing way for them to continue helping us. So I would suggest opening your heart to continuing to work with her now, calling on her, talking with her, your poodle, and really engaging so that you can get all that you can from that lesson. Okay. Okay. So what I want you to do when you're writing a question is write a specific question. Don't write, does so-and-so have a message? Don't write, is so-and-so okay? But actually write a specific question without a whole bunch of detail, but make the question specific. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so Carol Williamson, a mini reading would be so amazing right now. I miss him so much. Why did he leave alone and not wake me up? Okay, Carol. So this has to do, I don't know his name, don't need his name. I'm connecting to the he that you're talking about. And what he shows me is that you are a person, I see a hand hitting your head, like you tend to beat yourself up a bit about things. And he didn't want you to have the opportunity to do that. He also shows me that you would have been, literally see the word heroic, and you were not supposed to be heroic. It was the end. This was his moment. He needed to go at that time, and he didn't want it to be stopped. He also tells me that that when you found him, he looked very peaceful, and he looked peaceful. You know it. And he did that because he wanted you to see that he was peaceful when he passed. So you don't have to I keep seeing this, you don't have to keep beating yourself up. Okay. Whoa, these things are really moving. Okay. JP just saying, is Chayonce. Sorry. I know you corrected me earlier and I don't know how to do it. One of my guardian angels now, he used to visit me, and now months, no communication from him lately. So I'm going to go to him. I'm just going to say Chance because I think that's just what I'm going to say. So let me go to Chance. So what Chance is showing me is that Chance is still around, but you're less interactive with Chance. So it looks to me like you kind of have gone back to your more normal life. It's like, I see you busy over here. I see you busy over there. Now, he's not saying you're too busy, but it's more like you're living your normal life. Whereas before, I see you, the visual is you're like walking around looking for a sign in every moment, and you're not doing that anymore. And that's totally fine. He's not saying you need to change that, but it's not that he's not around. It's that you're at a different phase in your grieving process. And so that's very important to pay attention to. Where we are in our grieving process, our animals will decide, hey, this is going to help in this moment. This isn't going to help. And that doesn't mean that every person who's moved on into their more normal life stops getting messages. It's that Chance did that for you in this moment because that's what helps you the most. What I am seeing that you can do is you can sit down. I see you doing dedicated times. You sit down on cross-legged, and I see almost like a braided rug, like this, and you sit there. It looks like a nice cozy area. That looks like a fireplace. Maybe it's not a real fireplace. And you actually take the time to call on him. This is what he wants. Okay. So it's not like I'm going to give you signs all the time anymore. Now you have to be very purposeful about it. So I hope that helps. Just saying. I hope that helps. Okay. And I'm looking for questions that don't give me too much information and that are dialed in, just because it's like hard in this moment to I want to pick out questions that work well for this. Okay. Nicole is saying, is Tebow, my dog who passed, is she with me during animal communication sessions with clients? Okay, hold on. So the answer is yes, but what I see is that she hangs back. She hangs back, kind of like watching, kind of, kind of making sure, but she's hanging back. It's not okay. So this is interesting. What is this here? So this is what I see, and this is what I hear. That there was a sense in you that you really kind of almost like wouldn't be able to continue on in the same way without Tebow. Tebow wants you to know that you can continue on and you don't actually need her, but she's in the background watching, but she is not asking for you to call on her. It's this feels more like training wheels helping you adjust to her not being around in the readings. So it's like she keeps backing up a little bit more and a little bit more so you can feel confident as you do your work, knowing that you're doing it yourself and she's around if needed. But this feels very important. So hopefully that makes some sense to you, because I don't know what I'm talking about. This says, where'd it go? Oh, well, there's big ones in here. So Code Pro says, my cat of 14 years passed on Mother's Day. I really love and miss him and want him to return. Will my cat reincarnate in this lifetime or return to me? So the answer is your cat will return, because that is what they do. They do reincarnate. They don't always reincarnate. You have had other animals that you've also been close to in other lifetimes. They're part of your soul family. But usually when we have one, we're like, oh, I want this one to come back. They will reincarnate, but they wait for us to reincarnate. Again, like I said to somebody else, I feel like it would be really helpful for you to start focusing on the relationship you can currently have with your cat who's on the other side, which means connecting, talking, sharing, leaving space in the conversation for your cat to respond, asking for signs. Develop this relationship as it is now, rather than keeping yourself in a place of, is it going to happen? When's it going to happen? You're not getting everything out of the relationship. You're missing out. So shift that expectation, and you'll actually be able to develop more connection with your cat who has passed. Okay. JP just saying, you're welcome. My Min Pin Domino died last year. It was so hard on me and my other dog. Can you tell me anything? I'm not sure. Can you add to your comment and tell me, don't say, can you tell me anything? Can you make it an actual question? Because can you tell me anything? I don't know what you want to know about. JP says, no, haven't gone back to regular life. Okay, so what that could mean is you're supposed to. I see you doing that. So what that could mean is you're supposed to, and I misread that. I'm sorry. It's easy to not understand the tense, TENSE, of information that comes in. Your appearance has always reminded me of Tatum O'Neal younger days. Ah, that's cute. I hope you, okay. Looking for another question. Catnap. Will we meet when I die? Yeah. And in fact, when your passed over pets died, there's the soul part of you, because all of you is not here, was there to greet them, meet them, and is currently with them. I think we have this sense that animals are like that animals are over there and they're crossed over and they're away from us and we're only going to see them when we die, or we hope to. That's not a thing. Like, the least of us is here. I have the least access to my whole being here, sitting here in this chair, in this physical world. My goal is to have as much access as I can, but majority of me, majority of you is in spirit, in the unit, whatever you want to call it, is there with all our loved ones, kind of watching all this go on. Okay. Lizzie, my Hamish sent me here. Love him and miss him so much. Love from Scotland. Yay. Okay. Where did I go? So, okay. I still haven't had one single sign from my soulmate, even after 6 months. Why can't I handle life without? Why I can't handle life without her? Okay, so same thing for you, and I think this tells me what I need to talk about, soon, which is how to develop the relationship with your pet that is on the other side. We spend so much time wishing and wanting and feeling guilt and all of this, and it gets in the way of the grieving process. There's the grieving. I miss my pet. I miss them so much. And then we pile all these other emotions and all this stuff on there and all this desire, right? I want them to come back. I want to see them again. And then we start looking in other animals around us like, are you? And you're actually going to find that when you stop and instead live in the present moment, and kind of, it's almost like your energy, this is how I see it. Your energy is like seeking out like this. But which means is really important that it's not as present and full here to give your pet something to send a sign to. You can't catch that sign because you're all scattered about seeking. So if we could bring you back in more here, I'm going to develop the relationship with my pet like this. Now it's almost like your energy is more full and present and solid, and you'll be able to capture those signs. But when we are seeking like that, energetically, it's like we've got holes and the signs just go through. All right. Thank you so much for playing and listening and sharing. And I know you all are grieving, and I know this is so hard. And I hope I brought a little bit of light into your day and helped you understand that our pets are still here. They still want to connect even when they're on the other side. They have a plan. And when we can align with that plan, it does help ease our hearts a little bit. So thank you so much. Now I got to figure out how to end. Okay. Bye, y'all.